Welcome back everybody, this is part number 4 of our video series. So today Roger is gonna show us how to texturize an object as an absolute beginner.
Yeah, let's have a look.
So texturizing is not the easiest part in Blender. I have here an empty scene and we add a cube. Shift A and a cube here. Let's do it in the center, zoom out a little bit. And we want to make here some bricks as texture on it. Let's see how that works. First I select the cube, then I go here and select the material tab. And I have to add a new material. Click New, and then we give this material a name. So for example, bricks. Now we don't see anything, because we have to add a shader. Go on the upper left part in your program until you see this cross, press the left mouse button and drag it to the center. So now we have enough space here. Click here on this icon and select Shader Editor. We can remove that, we don't need it. So this is our shader editor and this is our 3D view. So these are the shader settings, or the material settings actually. Press here in this window Shift A, go in Textures and then Image Texture. Push this on this position and then connect color with base color, because we call this a node editor. So I press here with the left mouse button and connect it with base color. Then I click on Open and select a texture. In my case, I select a brick texture. So actually, the object has a brick texture, but we can't see it. Let's push that to the left side. Zoom out a little bit. So why can't we see it? Because we have the wrong shading view. So just let us click here on this button. And now we see the cube. The cube is textured and you can see it's a brick cube. Very easy.
So as a beginner, certain terms sound very complicated, like material or shader or texture. I mean, can you explain what these terms really mean?
Yeah, let's have a look here on the table. I will explain it.
Oh, okay, yes, please.
Okay, we have this cube and we have the texture. So the big question is, how can we put this texture on the cube? Because when we fold it, like this way, we have this ugly part here on the side. So it's not a good idea to pull it or do it like this way. So we have to UV map the texture, because it doesn't look like how it should. What we take the texture and we put this object here on the texture. So now what we did is we UV mapped the texture. That means we actually cut the texture at a certain way. In this, it's just an example. And now we can fold, because we UV mapped the texture, we can fold the texture over the object. So this way. And now it's possible, and in the 3D program it looks really nice when we UV map the real texture on the cube. And that's actually the way. So you have to set, or you have to tell the 3D program where it has to cut the texture, that you can fold the texture beautiful around the object. That's actually UV mapping.
Wow, this looks very cool already, man. But these bricks kind of look unreal to me, and I want to change it that it looks very real. So how am I going to do that?
That's really easy. So
yeah,
let's solve that.
Please.
So the cube doesn't look that nice because the bricks look in the wrong direction. So we can fix that really easy. Let's increase the size of this window here a little bit, because we need a second window here. Let's go to the upper left part until we see the cross and drag it down. So we still have our shader view here, and we select another window here, click here and select UV editor. Now we see the UV map here. Make it a little bit smaller, and then we go here in the edit mode, because you can change the UV maps just in the edit mode. Press the tab key, and what you see here is exactly what I showed you on the table. It's the cuts, or the UV map actually here. So we can select each side that we want to see here. You see, each side has a different position. I want to change this and this, so I select both. I click on this, hit Shift and select this too. So we select the both. Now I go with my mouse in this window, press A for all, and I want to rotate this 90 degrees. I do that by clicking R on the keyboard, R, and then on my numpad 9, 0 and enter. So I rotated these UV maps here 90 degrees, and now it looks much better than before.
Okay, but as a beginner, what kind of issues or what were the problems during texturing?
Yeah, the most important problem at texturing was how can I put different textures on the same object. So I will explain you that very short.
Oh, okay.
Let's have a look.
So I want to do now add a second texture to this cube. So let's move a little bit. Select the cube, press Tab for going into the edit mode. Select this upper face and press E for extrude. And S for scale. Scale it a little bit down. E for extrude and drag it down. So what I want to do is I want to fill that with concrete, and this should be brick stones. But when we see this, it looks really ugly. So we want to change that. For example, here I hit the Alt key on the keyboard and I press exactly on this side here, Alt this. So I select everything that is connected here. I also do it here at this side so that I can select all the faces here. Zoom in, hit Alt and Shift because I want to add this to our selection. Now I added everything. What I'm going to do right now is I press U on the keyboard for UV mapping and select cube projection. And it looks cool, but it's too, the size it's not great. So these bricks are larger than this. So I go back here in our UV editor, hit A for all, and then S for scaling and move my mouse. So that looks, say this is great. Let's do it here. So what we want to do right now is we want to fill that with concrete. So we want to add a second texture. That's really easy when you know how to do it. So go here to your material properties, add a new material, give it a name, we call it concrete. Go back into our shader editor, zoom in, hit Shift A, select texture and image texture, and connect color with base color. Now we opened another texture. Let's go here and select concrete. So the concrete is selected, we have a second material, but we can't see it because we have to assign this part to our new concrete material. So let's hit Tab key to go in the edit mode and select just this face. Select concrete and click assign, and now we have our beautiful concrete texture here. So we can hit Tab key to go back in the object mode, and now we have a beautiful brickstone, something like a cube, and here we have our concrete texture. But I don't like it that much because it's kind of shiny, so we can change that. We select the brick material, zoom in here to our shader editor and reduce the specular amount here. You see the difference when I move here? I don't like this. We also do it for the concrete. We reduce the specular amount. It's darker. Much more beautiful than before. So it's really easy to add a second texture or material if you know how to do it.
Okay, that makes a lot of sense, but how do you get these realistic looks? I mean, do you go out and just picture it, photograph it, or paint it? What do you do to get it this realistic?
Yeah, you can go out with your camera and take pictures, so it's important that you do that on a foggy day. You don't have shadows in the picture. That's really important. Okay. Don't go out
so
and
the light influence is quite okay.
But it's really difficult to create your own textures. You have to be really good at a photo program like Photoshop or so. It's difficult.
Okay.
I would recommend that you download these textures. So you can buy these textures in texture stores. I will show you 2 of these.
Oh, great. Cool.
The first web page I want to show is textures.com. So we can enter our keywords here, for example, bricks. And you see 4,500 textures with bricks, so there's a lot of texture here, and I select this one here. Now I can choose between different kinds of textures, and I can choose between different sizes of textures. The problem at textures.com is, although they have a lot of texture, they don't have the rights to sell them, or you can't use them for real projects, so they recommend that you use the textures from textures.com just for demo content. Another great site is Quixel. Quixel has these products here, and you can click on Browse Megascans. Quixel has a lot of high quality assets or textures. So click on Surface, then select Bricks. And for example, we take this one here, and we can download these really high quality textures here if we have a login. Another cool part of Quixel Megascans is when you go back on their webpage, they have a tool called Bridge here. And Bridge is something like a connector between this store here and your game engine. So if you buy a texture here in this store and you have downloaded Bridge, you can immediately import these textures into your game engine. So you save a lot of time to move that from the store to the game engine, because Bridge is doing that for you. So I really recommend Quixel Megascans, although I don't have any connections to textures.com or Quixel Megascans.
Okay everybody, so let's have a break right here. In the next video, Roger is going to show us how to ease the whole design part with modifiers, and as an absolute beginner, it makes everything easier.
Yeah.
Cool.